Yo, what is up, guys? It is Awesome Sports 13 here, and today I'm coming with you guys with the sign-up series number 30, the biggest event I have ever done on this channel. 100 trucks will be competing in this sign-up series. So now, let's quickly go over the races. So, we'll kick things off with Max D. I'm pretty sure that's See-Through Crew. Yep, taking on the Silver Gravedigger. Then we'll just go down here. This should be a really fun series. And yeah, just quickly go over down the races and then the final column. And then we'll end off round number 1 with the Elemental Trucks Gravedigger taking on Full Charge. So let's get sign up series 30 underway. And sign up series number 30 is underway. And the first winner will be the Silver Gravedigger getting the win over the See-Through Crew Max D. Next up we have Bulldozer taking on Calavera. And Bulldozer will get the win over Calavera with a block. Next up we have Monster Mutt Rottweiler taking on Whiplash. And Whiplash will get the win over Monster Mutt Rottweiler. Next up we have the Battle of the Zombies, the Overcast Zombie and the Elemental Truck Zombie. And the Overcast Zombie will get the win with a block. Next up, we have the Max Contrast Megalodon taking on Team Mence. And Team Mence will get the win over the Max Contrast Megalodon. Next up, we have Octonator taking on Earthshaker. And Earthshaker will take the win over Octonator. Next up, we have Soldier Fortune taking on the World Final 16 Bounty Hunter. And the winner's going to be the World Final 16 Bounty Hunter, getting the win over Soldier Fortune. Next up, we have Monster Mutt Husky taking on the Overcast Gravedigger. And, ooh, very close race, but it's going to go to the Overcast Gravedigger, getting the win over Monster Mutt Husky. Next up, we have King Crunch taking on Salvager. And it's going to be Salvager getting the win over King Crunch. Next up, we have the Training Trucks El Toro Loco taking on Megalodon. And, ooh, close race, but it's going to go to the Training Trucks El Toro Loco. Next up, we have Scooby-Doo taking on Max D. And Scooby-Doo will take the win over Max D. Next up, we have the Inverse Bakugan Dragonoid taking on the Gears Blue Thunder. And the Gears Blue Thunder will upset the Inverse Dragonoid. Next up, we have Saigon Shaker taking on Son of a Digger. Rhymes. And Saigon Shaker will get the win over Son of a Digger. Next up, we have Gravedigger the Legend taking on Brodozer. And Brodozer will take the win over Gravedigger the Legend. Next up, we have the Gears Alien Invasion taking on Zombie. And Zombie will take the win over the Gears Alien Invasion. Next up, we have the Elemental Trucks Bakugan Dragonoid taking on the Black World Finals Max D. And the blue, that's actually really close. Let's look up from a good angle here. You can see the blanket right there. You can see that tire of Bakugan Dragonoid will take the win over the Black World Finals Max D. Anyways, next up we have the World Finals 20 Avenger taking on the Galaxy's Monster Mutt Dalmatian. And the Galaxy's Dalmatian, I think, oh yeah, definitely will take the win over the World Finals 20 Avenger. Next up we have the Galaxy's Bakugan Dragonoid taking on the Inverse Alien Invasion. And the Galaxy's Bakugan Dragonoid will take the win over the Inverse Alien Invasion. Next up, we have the Ice Earthshaker taking on Raisin Cane. And it's close, but the Ice Earthshaker will edge Raisin Cane. Next up, we have the Boneyard Gravedigger taking on Bad News Travels Fast. And Bad News Travels Fast will take the win over the Boneyard Gravedigger. Next up, we have Queen Bee taking on Ice Cream Man. And Queen Bee will take the win over Ice Cream Man. Next up, we have the Elemental Trucks Hurricane Force taking on Time Flies. And Time Flies with a successful comeback win over the Elemental Trucks Hurricane Force. Next up, we have the Nitro Neon's Octonator taking on the Elemental Trucks not Hurricane Force, Earthshaker. Next, god damn, my English. Earthshaker will take the win over the Nitro Neon's Octonator. Next up, we have the Boneyard Grey Cloak Mohawk Warrior taking on Monster Mutt. And Monster Mutt with a comeback win over the Boneyard Grey Cloak Mohawk Warrior. Next up, we have Horsepower taking on Double Decker. And, oh, Horsepower tried to block Double Decker but fails. Double Decker prevails. Next up, we have the 2001 Retro Rebels El Toro Loco taking on Batman. And Batman will take the win over El Toro. Next up, we have the Nitro Neon Zombie taking on Dragon. And Dragon will take the win over the Nitro Neon Zombie. Next up, we have the Red Primer Gravedigger taking on the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. And the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior will take the win over the Red Primer Gravedigger. Next up, we have the Hyperfueled Gravedigger taking on Monster Mutt Poodle. And really close, go down the line. And the Hyperfueled Gravedigger will just barely take the win over Monster Mutt Poodle. Next up, we have the Galaxy's Dragon taking on Iron Outlaw. And Iron Outlaw will take the win over the Galaxy's Dragon. Next up, we have Monster Mutt Dalmatian taking on Pirate's Curse. And Monster Mutt Dalmatian will take the win over Pirate's Curse. Next up, we have Higher Education taking on Maximum Destruction. And Maximum Destruction will take the win over Higher Education. Next up, we have the Boneyard Son of a Digger taking on Stinger Unleashed. And the Boneyard Son of a Digger gets the win over Stinger Unleashed. Next up, we have Jurassic Attack taking on the Nomad Avenger. And Jurassic Attack, I think? Yeah, he will get the win over Nomad Avenger. Next up, we have Hurricane Force taking on Bounty Hunter. And Bounty Hunter will take the win over Hurricane Force. Next up, we have a Gears and Galaxies battle between the Gears Mohawk Warrior and the Galaxy's Gravedigger. And the Galaxy's Mohawk Warrior will take the win over the Galaxy's Gravedigger. The Gears Mohawk Warrior. Next up, we have the Burn Victim Zombie taking on the Grain Gravedigger. And the Grain Gravedigger will take the win over the Burn Victim Zombie. Next up, we have the Nitro Neon's Pirate's Curse taking on Alien Invasion. And the Inverse Pirate's Curse will take the win over Alien Invasion. Next up, we have the Fire Mohawk Warrior taking on Scarlet Bandit. And the Fire Mohawk Warrior will take the win over Scarlet Bandit. Next up, we have Wildflower taking on Stone Crusher. And Stone Crusher will take the win over Wildflower. Next up, we have Storm Damage taking on the Sheer Madness Gravedigger. And it's going to go to Storm Damage taking the win over the Sheer Madness Gravedigger. Next up, we have Blue Thunder taking on Monster Mutt Rottweiler 2019. And wow, what a win. That was an epic win for Blue Thunder, getting the win over the 2019 Rottweiler. Next up, we have the Yellow Toro Loco taking on the Gears Whiplash. And the Yellow, wow, that is another great race. But it's just barely going to be the Yellow Toro Loco. Next up, we have the debuting Superman taking on the Black Ops Soldier Fortune. And Superman will get the win with a block. Next up, we have the 2019 Monster Mutt taking on the Training Trucks Gravedigger. And Monster Mutt will get the win with a block. Next up, we have Lumberjack taking on the Darkest Neo Bakugan Dragonoid. And the Darkest Neo Dragonoid will take the win over Lumberjack. Next up, we have Gravedigger taking on the Kraken. And Kraken will take the win over Gravedigger. Next up, we have the Black El Toro Loco taking on Jester. And the Black El Toro Loco will take the win over Jester. Yeah. And now, finally, the final race of round one is going to feature the Elemental Trucks Gravedigger taking on Full Charge. And Full Charge will take the win with a block. Alright guys, and here are our matchups for round number 2. Let's go ahead and switch up the races a little bit and switch up the ramp, shall we? So, we are going to kick things off with the Silver Gravedigger and Bulldozer. As you guys can see the races for yourselves right here. And let's go racing. So, like I said, we're going to kick things off with the Silver Gravedigger and Bulldozer. And, ooh, close race. And it's going to be Bulldozer. Next up, we have Whiplash taking on the Overcast Zombie. And as you guys can tell over there, Whiplash will take the win over the Overcast Zombie. Next up, we have Team Ments taking on Earthshaker. And it's going to be Team Ments getting the win over Earthshaker. Next up, we have the World Final 16 Bounty Hunter taking on the Overcast Gravedigger. And wow, what a race. But as you guys can probably tell, Overcast Gravedigger gets the win with a block. Next up, we have Salvager taking on the Training Trucks El Toro Loco. And the winner is going to be the Training Trucks El Toro Loco. Next up, we have Scooby-Doo taking on the Gears Blue Thunder. And wow, close race. But it's going to be the Gears Blue Thunder. Next up, we have Zombie taking on the Elemental Trucks Bakugan Dragonoid. And it's going to be Dragonoid with a block. Next up, we have the Battle of the Galaxies trucks between Monster Mutt Dalmatian and Bakugan Dragonoid. And it's going to be... wow, very close race. But you can see, just barely, it's going to be Dalmatian. Next up, we have Saigon Shaker and Brodozer. And the winner is going to be Saigon Shaker. Next up, we have the Ice Earth Shaker taking on Bad News Travels Fast. And it's going to be Bad News. Next up, we have Queen Bee taking on Time Flies. And Time Flies will take the win over Queen Bee. Next up, we have the Elemental Trucks Earthshaker taking on Monster Mutt. And it's going to be Monster Mutt taking the win over the Elemental Trucks Earthshaker. Next up, we have Double Decker taking on Batman. And wow, very close race. Man, that is a dead even. But you can tell, just barely from looking down. Oh, it's close. But I'm going to give the slight edge to Batman. Next up, we have Dragon taking on the Grey Clips Mohawk Warrior. And wow, another close race, but it's going to be the Grey Clips Mohawk Warrior getting the win over Dragon. Next up, we have the Hyperfuel Gravedigger taking on Iron Outlaw. And it's going to be Iron Outlaw taking the win over the Hyperfuel Gravedigger. Next up, we have Monster Mutt Dalmatian taking on Maximum Destruction. And Monster Mutt Dalmatian will get the win over Maximum Destruction. Next up, we have the Boneyard Son of a Digger taking on Jurassic Attack. And it's going to be just barely with Jurassic Attack getting the win over the Boneyard Son of a Digger with a comeback win. Next up, we have the Black El Toro Loco taking on Full Charge. And wow, what a race. But as you guys can tell by the blue line right there, that Full Charge will get the win over the Black El Toro Loco. Wow, what an upset. Next up, we have the Darkest Neo Bakugan Dragonoid taking on Kraken. And Kraken will get the win over the Darkest Neo Bakugan Dragonoid. Next up, we have Superman taking on the 2019 Monster Mutt. And Superman will get the win over the 2019 Monster Mutt. Next up, we have Blue Thunder taking on the Yellow El Toro Loco. And the Yellow El Toro Loco will take the win over the Blue Thunder. Next up, we have the Nitro Neon's Pirate's Curse taking on the Fire Grey Clips Mohawk Warrior. And wow, what a race. Let's go down the line. Just barely, as you can see right there, that Pirate's Curse will take the win over the Fire Mohawk Warrior. Next up, we have Bounty Hunter taking on the Gears Mohawk Warrior. And the Gears Mohawk Warrior will blow out Bounty Hunter. Next up, we have Stone Crusher taking on Storm Damage. And wow, what another garbage race. But Stone Crusher will take the win over Storm Damage. And the final race of round number 2 is going to feature the Green Gravedigger and El Toro Loco. And El Toro Loco will take another blowout win over the Green Gravedigger. Alright guys, and here are our matchups for round number 2. And as you guys can tell, El Toro Loco needs a fast loser. So, I used the random wheel spin. It is going to be the Black El Toro Loco or Double Decker. And it's going to be the Black El Toro Loco getting the win over Double Decker. Alright guys, and here are our matchups for round number 3. Who remembers this ramp? We'll kick things off with Bulldozer and Whiplash. And yeah, let's just go down the line. And we'll end off round number 3 with El Toro Loco and the Black El Toro Loco. So, round 3, let's get underway. Round number 3 is underway. And the first winner is going to be Bulldozer taking the win over Whiplash. Next up, we have Team Men's taking on the Overcast Gravedigger. And wow, what a race, and the Team Men's will get the win over the Overcast Gravedigger. Next up, we have the Training Trucks of Toro Loco taking on the Gears Blue Thunder. And wow, sorry, bad camera work. Training Trucks of Toro Loco will get the win over the Gears Blue Thunder. Next up, we have the Elemental Trucks Bakugan Dragonoid taking on the Galaxy's Monster Dalmatian. And the Elemental Trucks Dragonoid will get the win over the Galaxy's Dalmatian. Next up, we have Saigon Shaker taking on Bad News Travels Fast. And Saigon Shaker will defeat Bad News. Next up, we have Time Flies taking on Monster Mutt. And Monster Mutt will defeat Time Flies. Next up, we have Batman taking on Mohawk Warrior. And Batman will take the win over Mohawk Warrior. Next up, we have Iron Outlaw taking on Monster Mutt Dalmatian. And Iron Outlaw will get a monster win over Dalmatian. Next up, we have Jurassic Attack taking on Full Charge. And wow, that is really close. And it's going to be Jurassic Attack. I'm pretty sure. Yes. Next up, we have two fan favorites, Kraken and Superman. And Superman will take down the Kraken. Next up, we have the Yellow Toro Loco taking on the Nitro Neon's Pirate's Curse. And the Nitro Neon's Pirate's Curse will defeat the Yellow Toro Loco. Next up, we have the Gears Mohawk Warrior taking on Stone Crusher. And Stone Crusher will upset the Gears Mohawk Warrior. And the final race of round number 3, coincidentally, is going to be a battle of the El Toro Locos, the original one and the black one. And the original one will defeat the black one. Here are our matchups for round number 4, and as you guys can tell, we need a fast loser. So, it's only right. Bad News, Time Flies, the two best trucks in my sign-up series, facing off for the fast loser spot, and it's going to be Bad News getting the win over Time Flies. Alright guys, and here are our matchups for round number 4. It's the half ramp edition. Here are our matchups for round number 4. As we go down the line, and we'll end off round number 4 with El Toro Loco and Bad News Travels Fast. So, let's get round number 4 underway. Round number 4 is underway. And it's going to be Bulldozer. Next up, we have the Training Trucks of Toro Loco taking on Bakugan Dragonoid Elementals. And it's going to be... It's going to be the Training Trucks El Toro Loco. Next up, we have Saigon Shaker taking on Monster Mutt. And Saigon Shaker will defeat Monster Mutt. Next up, we have Batman taking on Iron Outlaw. It's going to be Iron Outlaw getting the win over Batman. Next up, we have Jurassic Attack taking on Superman. And wow, close race, and it's going to be Superman edging out Jurassic Attack. Next up, we have the Nitro Neon's Pirate's Curse taking on Stone Crusher. And the Nitro Neon's Pirate's Curse will get the win over Stone Crusher. And the final race of round number 4 is going to feature El Toro Loco taking on Bad News. And El Toro Loco will take the win over Bad News. Alright guys, and here are our matchups for the semifinals, and as you guys can tell, we need a fast loser to take on El Toro Loco. I figured it's only right. Batman, Bad News. And it's going to be Bad News getting the win over Batman. Alright guys, and here are our matchups for the quarterfinals. Alright guys, and here are our matchups for the quarterfinals. And let's go over the field of trucks for the quarterfinals. So, inside of Bulldozer, we have GTMJ Network. Inside of the Training Trucks El Toro Loco, we have Monster Jam Race Ace Tom Nook Fan 8284. Inside of Saigon Shaker, we have Lenny Marroquin. Inside of Iron Outlaw, we have Austin Rojaz. And inside of Superman, we have Demo Derby 68. And inside of the Nitro Neon's Pirate's Curse, we have Monster Jam Fanatic. And inside of El Toro Loco, we have Wrecker Jones. And inside of Bad News Travels Fast, we have Monster Jam Fan 0311. So, who is going to the semifinals? Who is going to the not championship race, the semifinals? It's gonna be the Training Trucks El Toro Loco, who is going to meet him in the semis. It's gonna be Iron Outlaw. Lenny Marroquin, I am so sorry. You came so close, man. Especially in this truck. This truck I don't think has ever made it this far. It hasn't been in my sign-up series for a while. It hasn't been in my sign-up series for long, and I apologize. Better luck next time in sign-up series number 31. Who is going to the semis? It's going to be the Nitro Neon's Pirates Curse. And I am so sorry to Demo Derby 68. You came so close with Superman. Superman was the only debuting truck left in this series. And he came so far with him, but better luck next time in Series 31. Who is going to meet Pirates Curse in the semifinals? It's going to be Bad News. Alright guys, and here's our semifinals. Inside of the Training Trucks El Toro Loco, we have Monster Jam Race Ace Tom Nook Fan 284, and inside of Iron Outlaw, we have Austin Rojaz, and inside of the Nitro Neon's Pirates Curse, we have Monster Jam Fanatic, and inside of Bad News Travels Fast, we have Monster Jam Fan 0311. So, who's going to the championship race? Who's going to the championship race of my biggest sign-up series? It's going to be the... Oh! Let's see. We're going to look at it from the front. And that is definitely the Training Trucks El Toro Loco. And just like that, I cannot believe the Training Trucks El Toro Loco has made it this far in my series. But even though he made the championship race, he is still going to have one hell of an opponent. Here we go. Monster Jam Fanatic and Monster Jam Fan 0311. Two heavyweights. A heavyweight bout to the championship race. And it's gonna... Oh my good God. That is like a tie. Oh, but as you guys can see from that blue line, it's gonna be the Nitro Neon's Pirates Curse. And guys, I'm gonna be honest, what a shocking championship race we have right here. Like, this is just stunning. I cannot believe the Training Trucks El Toro Loco has made it this far. Not really surprised for the Nitro Neon's Pirates Curse. He's always done well in my series. Just so you know, both of these drivers have ever won, nor have these trucks ever won. So, this is going to be a first time for everyone here. Yeah, anyways, inside of the Training Trucks El Toro Loco, we have Monster Jam Race Ace Tom Nook Fan 284. What a job he has done by picking this truck in the sign-ups video. And inside of Pirates Curse Nitro Neons, we have the one and only Monster Jam Fanatic. So, who is it going to be? The winner of sign-up series number 30 is going to be none other than the Nitro Neon's Pirates Curse. I am so incredibly sorry. But wow, I still can't even believe that he made it this far. But better luck next time in Series 30. No offense, but I personally didn't think you were gonna win. But congratulations to the Nitro Neon's Pirates Curse. He has won for the first time, and I don't think Monster Jam Fanatic has won ever. Last time I recalled. So, congratulations to you, man. And I'll see you guys in the sign-ups video for the next sign-up series. I'll see you guys in the next one.